Steve! Oh my goodness! Holy sh! Well, folks, welcome to another episode. I don't know what the hell you want to call this crap that I'm doing. Anyway, I've got potentially really bad news about my loader. A couple days ago, I got back from a swap meet and unloaded this motorcycle from the truck and used the loader to just pick it up instead of wrestling around and potentially hurting somebody. But anyways, I was reparking the loader over here. It started making a fluttering noise out of the exhaust. Now for the past, 8 months, maybe a year, this has had a little, like a lifter tick in it. And it didn't really bother me if that's all the worst it's going to be. But yeah, as I parked this and that was making that fluttering noise, I was like, oh crap, something's really wrong. It was a little bit down on power, but you know, you stabbed the throttle a bit and it came around. There was no really loud knocking or any other obnoxious noises. But it was getting dark, I was in a hurry, I just parked it, went about my business. Came back out yesterday, and as I happened to be walking by, I thought, I should check the oil in this. This is what I found. Not a drop on that dipstick. I had to custom make this dipstick. You can just barely see a little mark right there. Okay, I guess there is a drop on it. So it's not totally dry of oil. Yeah, no excuses, dumbass me. I can't remember the last time I checked the oil in this thing. So obviously the oil has ran down enough to cause a problem. I don't honestly know where it's coming from. Maybe right here, this old oil sending unit. Yeah, I don't have an oil pressure gauge on this thing either. But you can tell that's definitely been leaking. So a bigger issue is the hydraulic leaks. There's a leak right there that makes a mess. The lift cylinders leak pretty bad. Not so much this side, but the other side leaks really bad. So there's always just a trail of hydraulic fluid. So that maybe kind of masks the oil dripping issue. So let's go ahead and drain what's left of the oil out and see if there is actually anything in there. And then go ahead and change the oil in this and see if she springs back. I know that's terrible not checking the oil, and I should know better. But yeah, it's not like this thing gets fired up and runs an 8-hour day shift. It just gets fired up once in a while and I need to move something around, so it's easy to forget. It's like my snowplow. I don't remember when I've checked the oil on that thing. Maybe I should just go do that right now while I'm thinking of it. Alright, so it wasn't empty. Not a lot in there though. That's probably, I don't know, half a quart, 3/4. There's probably still some in the oil filter. But so far it doesn't look like there's any glitter in it. There, focus for me, would you? Looks pretty clean. I mean, as far as metal debris anyway. It is dirty, but I've seen a lot worse. Now, if I'm being honest here, I don't remember last time I changed the oil in this. Maybe I never have since I put this thing together. Shameful, I know. It's easy to neglect stuff like this that you only use once in a while. Although it is, even though I only use it once in a while, it's, I don't know what I would do without it. Once I had this thing running, it was like, wow. It just was a game changer for what I was doing around here. Ooh. Wow, that's really on there. I know I should probably put an oil pressure gauge on this. And I've got the gauges, but all I've got are the plastic lines, and I could go buy the copper line because the plastic line obviously would not hold up out here exposed to the weather. But I'm just not going to do that. I am going to get rid of this and just put a plug down in here. One less place for leaks to develop. Wow, that does not Oh, there we go, finally. Yeah, that's probably been some of it, no doubt. Now this extension pipe here is aluminum and it's 6-point. Seems to be in there pretty tight, so I don't want to go yanking and cranking on it with a 12-point wrench. So I've got a 6-point deep well socket. Should give me pretty good engagement, about as good as I'm going to get. Damn! Don't break, please don't break. All right, I think we're out of the woods now. And as you can see, there's just oil seeping out everywhere here. Like I said, none of it's fresh. It's just this took a while to happen. Now I got hardly any more oil out of that filter. I figured the filter would be full, but it was not. I got maybe a tablespoon more out of it. So that is all the oil that was in the engine. But like I said, thankfully it is not glittery. So maybe this thing's salvageable after all. I don't know, 302 engines can be pretty tough little boogers. So maybe it'll be okay. Kind of reminds me years ago, I mean a long time ago, probably late 80s or right around 1990, I had a 73 Torino that I'd put a 460 in. It was not a fresh 460, as you can imagine. And I would just drive that thing till the lifter started clattering. Then I'd just pull over, dump about 3 quarts oil in it, and off I'd go. And it'd take a few minutes before those lifters would quiet back down again. Maybe that'll be the same with this little baby. I almost forgot. This pan is from a Fox body application, so it has an extra little sump up in the front. It doesn't hold much, and I doubt what's up there does much good. It looks to me like it's kind of trapped up there, but should be a little bit more. Well, more there than I thought there'd be. All right, while this drains out some more, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a socket and a ratchet and try snugging some things down, see if that makes any difference. Yes, these are pretty loose. Oil pan's pretty snug for the most part. This side anyway. A little bit looser on this side, but not terrible. Valve cover's very loose on this side as well. Alright, so with the extra from that little front sump, I made a noticeable difference, but still that is not much oil. That might be 2 quarts maximum, I would say. And in case if you're worried, I did go check the oil in my snowplow Bronco. It was pretty clean, but down about half a quart, so I took care of that. There we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Slow down there, Chief. Looks like I need to be doing this with 1-quart bottles. That funnel is apparently sealing itself up against something and they're not wanting to run. Let's try it this way. All right, this works much better. All right, got some lube on my stick now. Maybe a little too much, but oil filter has to fill yet. Let's fire it up, see how she sounds. Bit of clatter there, but yeah, just as I was picking up the camera, the clatter, the intensity of it kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of a toned down a bit. Camera's getting it, but I'm still hearing a little bit of valve train clatter. But it doesn't have that fluttering noise in the exhaust that it did when we unloaded that motorcycle. I'm gonna let it warm up, see if maybe that clattering goes away. Alright, from back here it seems a little quieter. Maybe this is just like that 460 in that Torino. Took a little run time to get all the lifters pumped back up. Because before I was aware how low the oil was getting, that clattering in there was very pronounced when the engine was warmed up. Oh, yeah. I'm not hearing any valve train clattering now. Good job, little guy. Glad you're still with me. I don't know what I'd do without you. As I said, this thing's invaluable to me anymore. Running out of daylight today, but I was going to do a little bit more to this, seeing as how my attention is on it. So maybe we'll get back to this tomorrow. Do a couple more things. Alright folks, back at it again with lifting unit 112 here. I never noticed that here until just recently there was a number on it. Anyway, got it inside. Looks like might have some rain today. Might need to do some welding. I don't know. Let me show you what I'm up to now. Now, this seat is obviously pretty ragged. What I've been doing, get away kitty, I've been keeping a garbage bag in here. I have to pull it out and put it on the seat anytime I want to use this, because the seat obviously would be soggy as hell. Looking to rectify that here today. I've got, drop that. I've got this metal tractor seat pan I picked up at a swap meet like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago for just this intention. I got this cover for it just last weekend at another swap meet. But this kind of gets me right into the same realm as that one, in a way. With this one, I'm pulling the garbage bag out to cover it. With this one, I will be pulling the cover out to put it on every time, if I even went to the trouble. I don't know that I would. But then I got to thinking, I've got this lawnmower seat. It might be slightly more comfortable than that metal pan. I don't know. Even better, maybe I could figure out a way to just put a pivot on this. When I'm done using it, flip the seat up so the sun's not eating that up. But anyway, let's get this seat off and see what I can work with. I'd kind of like to keep the suspension mechanism that's underneath this seat, so I don't know if that's going to be possible. Let's get it pulled off there and find out. All right, at first I didn't think there was much hope for this, but it looks to me like if I pull this pin out here, the actual upholstery part of the seat itself will separate from the frame, and then I could maybe weld something to the frame. Let's get it apart and take a look. Well, they came right off, just like I'd hoped. That one was easy, just the pin. I did have to unbolt that from the bracket. I think I'm leaning towards going with the pan. I feel like, yeah, if I made this to where it would pivot up when I'm not using it, one thing, I would forget to tip it up and the sun would just eat it up. And even if I did remember to tip it up every time, I feel like the sun would just eat this up and I would be right back in this same boat again in a couple of years. If I put that metal pan on, one job, be done with it. I don't actually have to use the seat cover every time. Matter of fact, the pan I've sat in, it seems somewhat comfortable. So maybe combine that and the suspension bracket, it might be okay. So I think that's the route I'm going to take. All right, got some wooden blocks in there. Got it mocked up there where it seems pretty comfortable. I'll see if I can duplicate that somehow with some steel. There's the finished product, as is my standard operating procedure. I just used pieces of scrap I had sitting around. These are the remnants of a chair leg that I made into a, where'd it go? A roll-around stool for here in my shop. There it is. Cut it down. Yay for me. Seems comfortable enough. Gonna crank down the suspension seat a bit. Too much. Yeah. Move on to the next thing. So I think it's time to put some lights on this loader. I don't know how many times I've been doing work and darkness has closed in around me. These, from what I'm told, I got them from a good friend. They are supposedly like surplus leftover lights that used to be installed from the factory on John Deere tractors. I figure if it's good enough for John Deere, it's good enough for lifting unit 112 here. Floodlight. 12 or 24 volt. Got 4 of them here. Here's the plan. I think I'm going to put 2 right up here somewhere, and the other 2 I'm going to mount right here in the forks. I'm going to kind of mount them maybe back here and then make them so they'll swing up and hopefully stay out of harm's way, and then when I do need them I can just push them down here and they'll push light straight out that way. So as you can see, I got them all mounted up. I know I said I was going to mount these down in here, but whoop, look out, cat. Damn, that cat always trying to trip me. But the reason I didn't is because of where the wire goes in here, that would have been upside down and it would have had rainwater running in there filling up the housing, would be my guess. And plus, when these inevitably get destroyed, it'll be easier to grind these off than having them up underneath here. And mark my words, these things will get destroyed. I'm not real proud of the wiring work I did here, but yeah, you'd think I would have tied it in here, but inevitably I would have had at some point a chain wrapped around here and it would have pinched the wire. So that's why it's just kind of hanging there loose. And it does need to be kind of loose, you know, to allow the arms and all the tilt and all that. But I didn't use zip ties here because same thing, a zip tie there would have gotten pinched. There's a piece of wire there might be a little more durable. Yeah, Gorilla Tape holding it to that. I know there's better ways to do that, but as I said before, something's going to wipe these out. I have no doubt about that. It's just a matter of when. So that's why I didn't put a lot of effort into that. Besides that, that Gorilla Tape, it ought to hold up pretty well. Even if I have to, you know, put more on there every 6 months, a year, if they last that long. They might, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, inevitably something's going to destroy them. Those two back there I think will be pretty safe. In hindsight, maybe I should have just took these two and mounted them right in here somewhere. Of course, there's a muffler in the way, maybe right there above the muffler. Speaking of muffler, we'll get back to that in a second. I've already got all the wiring done. And, you know, there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. And the right way would be put a circuit breaker or fuses in the wiring circuit. Of course, I did it the wrong way. But anyway, I know it's daylight out, but see if we can show you some results here. You can hear the lights buzz. I can hear them anyway. Now the reason I mounted the switches in here, granted, it would have been more convenient to have them mounted right around here where I could reach them while I'm operating it, but I don't think they're going to get used that much, and I wanted to have them in here out of the weather. But anyway, let me show you what I found in the exhaust walls underneath their string and the wires. Okay, the lighting isn't very good in here, but I believe it's showing up. My exhaust is rusted through. But I believe I have a solution for that. You know, again, there's a right way and a wrong way to fix everything. And we're kind of blurring the lines on this repair. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this up in there and close it up again. And then once it's closed, okay, let me back up. That exhaust where it's rusted out is right underneath me. And granted, I'm out in the fresh air, but still. And plus, it is just hanging by a thread. Pretty soon the muffler's going to fall off. So anyway, back to this. I will get this around it, close this up, and then I'll take some hose clamps and clamp it to that. Now that would, that'll gain some strength back, but before I actually put the hose clamps on, I will take these two cans that I cut open and wrap it around there and strategically to cover up the gaps that will still remain. Now we'll pretty well seal it up. There'll still be a little bit of leakage, but I feel like, yeah, that's the best it's going to do at this point. I'd like to fix it the right way, but I got other things I got to move on to. So there's the finished result. Yeah, the lighting in here is pretty poor. But you're not missing out on much. I'm sure it'd be even more horrifying to look at with some good light. Not one of my prouder moments here, but you already saw my wiring up there. Today's standards are pretty much non-existent, I would say. No. But as I'm wont to say, it's better than it was. Well, as you can see, I got it turned around now. I'm going to do some work on the back. And there's still some more. I'd like to build a set of fork extensions for this, but I just don't have the metal to do that right now. We'll see how that comes along in the future, maybe. Right now, this forklift tank, this is kind of a temporary thing. This is the actual fuel tank for it. Now what happens is when this runs dry, obviously the machine is dead. I can't get it over there where I fuel it. So I just go and I get a forklift tank, which I have anyway because I use these on my wheeling rigs. Strap it on right there and go until I get around to filling that one again. Now this has happened maybe a half dozen times, but I have found this tank dragging on the ground down here by the hose. How the hell that hose is never broke and how I've never actually managed to back up and catch the hose in the tank and rip it off that way, I don't know. But I want to address that problem. I'm going to make some sort of a mount to put the tank right up on top here and strap it down better. And then once that's out of the way, these weights, sometimes I'm picking up an entire vehicle. This thing just doesn't have enough weight in the ass, so I got those hanging there. They're kind of annoying. They drag on things and clang and bang, and so I'm gonna, once this tank's out of the way, I'm gonna make just some sort of like a stinger out here. I can just hang the weights on that. So let's get busy. See what the scrap bucket has to offer. Yes, indeed. I think these will do quite nicely.
Nice distance.
And now here's Ollie Williams with the Blackie weather forecast. Ollie?
It's gonna rain.
Thanks, Ollie.
New treasures on the trailer there. Got some Super Duty axles and a 93 Samurai, or what's left of it. Happens every time. Got a river running right here through my shop, or shed, or whatever you want to call it. You'd think I'd pony up some dough to have some gravel put out there to prevent this from happening, but I never do. Alright, so here's the idea. Piece of angle iron on each side, and one on the back. I wouldn't call it so much a cradle, but it keeps the tank from, obviously there'll be a strap over it. So yeah, this will be much more secure than having it just kind of hanging back here. I have to do this every year. Dig this little channel here to let this drain out before it runs into the shed. Why is it you get a rut or a hole in your yard, it's there forever, but that fills in every damn year? Plus, it is slowing down. And now, well, before I did that, I discovered I've got a pipe that I put in right down here that goes on out down the slope on the other side. Put that in years ago, and I just discovered that was plugged up, so I went out and got that unplugged. So now at least what's in here is draining back out now. There we go, flowing quite nicely now. Anyway, back to this. I went out to the old iron rack, the 56 F750 out there. Found this. I believe this is an axle tube from a Dana 61. I think it shall work quite nicely. Is that a weight rack, or is it just happy to see you? So I could trim that off, but you know, I could always put more weights on it, but at this point, the way it is right now, it doesn't really need it. With what this thing is capable of lifting, the hydraulic system, by the time it's getting to where it's really not wanting to do anymore, it's not lifting the ass off the ground with those two weights on it. So it's pretty well a balanced package the way it is. But I guess you never know, I could do something in the future that would upgrade the hydraulics on it to where then I might need more weight on it. So I'm just going to leave that the way it is. It ain't hurting nothing, so why not? Alright, it is not completely dark. It is about 5 in the morning. Let's see how well these lights work. Yes, indeed. I think those will do quite well.
Now get to work, you ugly humps.
Well, this new seat is definitely not as comfortable as the old one, but yeah, it's not like I spent an 8-hour day on this thing, so I think I'll manage. Guess that about wraps this up till I get some exhaust tubing to fix that properly. But anyway, thanks for watching, and remember,
Watch out for your cornhole, bud.